Right edition, welcome, happy day. I got a story for you. The phone rings and the lady of the house answers, hello, this is Mrs. Ward. And Mrs. Ward, this is Dr. Jones at the medical testing laboratory. When your doctor sent your husband's biopsy to the lab just yesterday, another biopsy from another Mr. Ward arrived as well, and now we're uncertain which one is your husband's. Frankly, the results are either bad or they're terrible. What do you mean, Mrs. Ward asked very nervously. Well, one of the specimens tested positive for Alzheimer's and the other one tested positive for AIDS. We can't tell which one is your husband's. That's dreadful. Can't you do the test again? Normally we can, but Medicare will only pay for these expensive tests one time. Well, what am I supposed to do? She said. Well, the people at Medicare recommend that you drop your husband off somewhere in the middle of town. If he finds his way home, don't sleep with him. You got all that? All right, just saying. Will Prime Minister Harper in Canada call the spring election, or will he wait until he's supposed to do it, because there is a fixed election date of October 19th. It's kind of an interesting thing. He's the one that brought in this fixed election date. He's already broken it once. He's one of these typical politicians. Here's the law. And then, but I'm rigidly flexible, right? And he's already demonstrated that once. The Premier in Alberta is playing with this same kind of thing right now. I mean, what part don't they understand? October 19th? Would that be October 18th, or would it be another date? Duh. I think it's October 19th. Leave it alone, but in any event, they're all speculating that he'll call it sooner, and I guess he's even thinking about it. Good grief. March of Defiance. That was an extraordinary event that happened a couple of weeks ago. More than 3 million people marched to be unafraid of terrorism. Really? And that was in Paris. Really? I mean, what would you think if you were a terrorist and you saw that? I know what I would think. What a great place to put a bomb. I mean, I watched it on television, and while I kind of get it, I was a little amazed that so many people would come together and say we're unafraid, but we're also unarmed. I mean, if you want to be unafraid, maybe be armed. Just saying. Okay, the right to carry reciprocal. Can I pronounce things? Not well. We're going to see how I do. The right to carry, if it's reciprocatory, that's it. Legislation that requires states to honor each other's concealed firearm carry permits. It might happen. They've been working on this for a good number of years. It's kind of like a driver's license. I mean, it's good no matter where you go. Likewise with your car, the license plates are okay when you cross a border. Why not the license to carry a gun? Every time I go across a border, I go, eek, I got to stop and read up now to see which laws I've broken in the last couple of minutes, and it's not a nice feeling. I mean, hey, if you pass the test, you should be allowed to do it, state to state. Now, Johns Hopkins Center for Gun Policy and Research, they say this: we think that crimes will increase because firearm sales and applications for concealed firearm permits have also increased. I don't even know how you'd respond to something as stupid as that. I mean, law-abiding people don't cause problems, particularly when you pass all the tests that go along with getting the right to carry. Here's a guy in Ottawa. He's now said that the Scotiabank is treating him badly because of his color, and he's black. He's originally from Nigeria. He's now a Canadian citizen, and he says these people, they have unjust customer profiling because they put holds on cash deposits in his bank account and bank drafts, and he goes on to say, who would do such a thing? I can't believe it. So he finally switched branches, and then where he ended up, the same thing happened. He went to another bank, and another bank, he can't believe it, and now he's suing them. I got news for you. His name is Gideon Christian. I got news for you, Gideon. They do it to everybody. It doesn't matter what color you are. You could be pink or you could be green, because that's their policy. There's no competition. The Bank Act needs to be changed. I mean, they put holds on your money. If you go in and put cash on a credit card, it takes 4 or 5 days unless you say make it immediate time and talk to the manager. It's complicated. They treat you like you're a nobody because they have no competition. They should have that right. They should have the right to do whatever they want, but we should have the right to have an alternative place to bank, and we don't because of a socialist government. So remember that when you're voting in your new country, vote right. John A. Macdonald, he was a visionary in so many ways. He just would have celebrated his 200th birthday. I guess we celebrated that since he wasn't around. He had all kinds of political corruption that went with him. You got to kind of judge a man, though, by the backdrop of his time. He used to say, with regard to being drunk, because he drank a lot, and people accused him of being drunk, and he said, I'd rather be a drunk conservative than have a sober liberal running the country, something along those lines. In any event, here's this guy that recently wrote a story about him and all the bad things that he did, and he said you wouldn't get away with anything that John A. did then. Now, a politician caught up in a bribery scandal, he'd be in trouble, right? And the punishment would be bad, and he goes on and on. I guess he forgot about Brian Mulroney and so many other guys that came into office poor and they left really, really rich. It's a banana republic candidate because nobody does anything to the bad guys. Hey, y'all come back tomorrow and we're going to have good things to tell you about the right. See ya.